Call meeting to order.
Good.
And our first item is discussion of the tentative budget for 2015-2016 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a continuation of our discussion. Just to lay out, I think we're looking at try to get a direction here. The budget is due to be submitted to KDE May 30th. So we have up until that time to do that. It's my hopes that we can approve it May 11th, next Monday, if at all possible. If not, we'll have to come back and do another special call board meeting for May 30th. The other information that was provided to you were not dependent on, but related to the budget, and that was to get discussion started on our salary schedules, certified classified, and also the stipends for extra days, etc. So, although the budget will need to be approved before May 30th, the salaries and the stipends, it would be helpful to have those approved. It's 45 days prior to the first day of student attendance. But certainly, as you saw my email, or maybe you didn't, on response to Lois's questions, and I appreciate those questions, I have held the reduction notifications and the non-renewals until after tonight's meeting. Again, unrelated, or they are related, but they're not dependent upon passing a budget, of course. So if tonight we can discuss on the salary schedules, we can discuss the stipends, I know those questions on the night, and also for some documents to be made available as well. So having said that, just open the floor to the discussions on the budget. And did everybody bring a copy?
No,
Did you bring a copy?
I did
No,
not.
that was last week's copy,
Yes,
Brett.
yes.
I brought mine. I'm a good student. I'm a good student, unlike some people I sit beside.
We were taking wages in the office today, so.
Did you win money on me? You lost. Oh,
No,
yeah.
I won a couple of horses I won on.
Yeah. There's one thing that I'd like to bring up that a buddy of mine mentioned to me, and it was an excellent suggestion, and if it's not already being done, the nickel tax that was passed by the previous board, it was done for the school money, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is that money being put in an escrow?
It's in a restricted account, yes.
Okay.
The revenues from that is in a restricted account. It can only be used on buildings.
Okay. Can it only be used on that building of the school?
No, sir, it can be used on, as we talked the other night with the bonding agent, to
Just
put a roof on each.
No, just go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just want to for all of us involved to have accountability to the public, and I would like to see that money that is being generated be an escrow account, and that it's being earning some money on it, and it would increase our bonding, wouldn't it? Our bonding potential.
The bonding potential is, it may have an impact on it, but it's sort of like, it's not, once you get it, it's not counted as revenue. Your bonding potential is based on what you're bringing in as revenue. So once you get it in, for instance, if we recall the other day, it was like 280,000, I think, maybe a little more. That's 297,000 that we've already brought in from that tax, from that nickel,
297.
the recallable nickel.
Okay.
So that amount be? That amount is not bonded. It can be used for bonding, but we have not sold bonds yet.
Right.
So the bonds, when they get sold, it's based on the revenue that's coming in from the time the bonds are sold, is what the revenue is based on. Or it's what the bonds are based on, the revenue. It's not what you already accumulate.
Can that, I understand it's a restrictive fund. Can it be put on interest-bearing account?
Yeah, I can answer that. All of the revenue we have, when we crossed over into Munis, all of our money goes into one checking account, and it is an interest-bearing checking account.
Yeah.
What are we gaining from that?
Yeah.
What interest rate are we getting?
Now you've asked me to.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I will
I'm
find
sure
that
you-
out for you,
yeah.
but it's 700, and I know this last month, we drew $750 interest.
On
our
that
checking-
297,000.
No, on our checking account.
On your checking account.
Period.
So wait, this is only restricted funds in name. I mean, it's with the other funds, but it's titled. It's
Yes.
not a separate account.
Right. When I print a balance sheet out for you, guys at a board meeting, there's Fund 1, Fund 2, 310, which is restricted, Fund 2 is restricted, 310 is our capital outlay, which is, like we've talked about, we've transferred it into general fund, and 320 is our building fund, which is a restricted account. And I can print you a balance sheet out for the next board meeting,
Okay.
and you can see those numbers in there, and then look at it, and we can send it to you electronically, and that way you can ponder on it and see what questions you need to ask, and I
Okay.
can answer those for you.
Okay, thank you. I just want the public to know, and I think it will help the board, the 3 board members that were on board, if maybe got some flack over that, it will help them as well, that if the public sees that the money coming in from that new nickel is for a new school and is actually gaining interest.
It is gaining interest.
But we can use, we're going to dip into that to a roof, sir,
Yes.
Roof at Eden.
Roof at Eden.
Okay.
which is about how much?
Well, we paid, what, 260, 280 on Martin County Middle, so it's probably gonna be in that neighborhood, probably between 250, 260. I'm just
250.
guessing ballpark.
Yeah.
250,000,
Yeah, we
260,000.
spent about
260.
260 at Warfield.
And the next board meeting, you all will just approve and finalize BG4 to BG5 on the roof. At this next upcoming board meeting.
On the Martin County Middle.
And final at the Martin County meeting.
Okay, is there any chance to put, Nikki said that money in one account, in just an interest fund account? Or does it have to all be one
It
general?
has to be in one account. The state requires us to just keep one checking account open.
The state won't let you.
State will let you take
separate?
that money
Not
and put it
especially it
separate?
being restricted money, it has to stay in our one checking account.
Your restricted money has to stay in
All
one?
of it.
All of it?
All of the board's money will be in
One
one
account.
checking account.
It's just,
That don't make sense.
I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with you at all, honey.
Right, I understand.
I wish I could quit calling people honey.
Well, Tammy,
Well,
I
that's
know.
better than some alternative, that's okay.
better than
I
that.
don't mind.
But it seems like to me that the state could keep a better eye on it if it were in a separate account.
Okay,
They
Aaron,
won't let you do
If they, when the state looks at a school's accounts,
Mhm.
they see multiple lines,
Mhm.
and they're all coded separately. But it's all in one pot. The money is just, it has to be in one account itself.
Yeah.
Like federal funds.
What other things might come out of that restricted funds besides saving for a new school? You talk about a roof, what else?
Anything, like, let's say an HVAC system goes out, but nothing can be spent out of there unless there is a CFR done, which is a request to pull money out. And that has to come to the board first, and then it has to go to KTE for a request.
Okay.
Restricted in a lot of cases.
yes, and we'll be doing that next board meeting also.
Well, the request is going to be on the agenda
Yes.
for a request for CFR for money out of that account to put a roof on Eden, and that's up to the board's decision to whether to.
That will be the one request for at
Right,
next board meeting?
and nothing else comes out of that line. It's not a GF1 to where we can move budgets around internally without coming back to the board. This one is restricted. KDE has to, you have to prove it, KDE has to prove it.
Okay. You understand what I'm
Yes, sir.
trying to
Yeah, I
get
do.
at? Okay.
It would be nice if we knew, and hopefully, we'll be able to bond this money sometime around September, October, November time period is when we put a shovel on the ground. Hopefully, that's gonna be the case, we'll be on track with that. But if it was, a couple of years out, certainly, it would be nice to be able to, do a 6-month CD. You could certainly earn a lot more interest on a
right.
6-month or a year CD than it just being set in a checking account. But Kentucky Department of Education forbids that kind of investments. I think the only, like the Tug Hill Scholarship is a separate thing because it's, it was,
Okay, it's in a Fund 700.
right. So
Okay, and it is what?
it's the proceeds, the dividends from the, whatever account.
The
that-
investments that
the
come in.
investment.
Mhm. They come in quarterly.
Okay, and it generates about 1,200 a year?
Mhm. I believe so.
Yeah, more or less, yeah, more. I think, you know, stocks or interest rates have been low, so stocks tend to grow.
Okay, I would never want that depleted.
Well, you mentioned that the other night, and I know what you're talking about. The dividend, or the original stocks will never touched it. It's only the dividends. But I also understand and hear you that we don't zero that out. That if there's $3,000 in there, we don't want to give all $3,000 away. There's always a small balance in there.
Oh, there's something else I want to say, I forgot. No, it's all right.
There was one other question I had while thinking, since the last meeting. I didn't see, I think I looked at a part about sewer. It's, sewage is listed as a line item, but I didn't see where any monies that were budgeted for fixing that dressing room at the high school, which does need fixed on, sir.
Which, you mean the football dressing room?
Football, yeah,
It'll be under maintenance. That'll come out of the budget, maintenance budget.
okay. Was that thought of when people put together the budget that,
Yes.
you know, I'd like to share something with you that I happen to know a man who was asked to plumb that building, and back when it was being built, but he went to the site and there was, the concrete had already been laid, and he said, I can't plumb this because of this concrete already laid and everything. And they said, well, we'll just get somebody else to do it. And so he left. And he shared that story with me years ago. And I didn't think about it until the problem arose. And I was just wondering if that was part of the problem, sir. That maybe, I'm not saying it was part of the problem, but I'm saying that that did happen, and ever who was in command then wanted him to plumb it.
I think Moses was around when that thing was built. I don't know. We were talking about the other day. We were looking at the plans on that building, and we haven't been able to put our hands on those plans because they're. I think some of them were stored at the bus garage when they moved into this building and taken out of the old or the old board office. But I have yet to lay eyes on the actual plans. As far as I know, the plumbing, of what my experience was last fall, that it was laid before the slab, meaning the plumbing is under the, I mean, you can see that the plumbing is under the slab. One of the reasons, we don't know what it looks like under there, but it was here, basically, if you were walking in the bleacher area and this was the wall, and you're looking straight at it, okay, in the middle of the building up there somewhere, there, underneath the slab, there's the sewage that goes out, and there are holding tanks out here and pumping stations, okay? We don't know what this looks like underneath there. But in here, there was once a shower station. You've seen those, like those flower kind of looking things where there's 5 or 6 shower heads around one pole. It was taken out in the floor, okay, in one of these areas. They didn't cap the drainage pipe, which was an 8-inch drain pipe, 8-inch PVC, was not capped. The only thing that was done was that there was a 2 3/4-inch plywood nailed together and covered where this thing used to sit. Underneath it, it was an open 8-inch PVC. So, quite simply, the toilet continued to run. It was running at such a rate that the tanks could not keep up with it. And when it got to the tanks, it started backing up into this area, anywhere it was open. So, once that was discovered, we went in and capped off that PVC, so that kind of stopped that.
Okay.
But this pipe is under the slab. There's no cutting or, where they might cut a 12-inch pad and they put the PVC in. It was there when they put the slab down, I suppose.
Well, I'm going to, just to clear my own mind up, I'm going to check with that fellow.
It'd be nice to find out, because
I'll report back, but go ahead. Sorry, I kind
how
of.
big's the pipe? I mean, how big's the pipe?
It's an 8-inch PVC, I believe is what it
Well,
was.
I handle anything.
Well, it did, but the rate of the toilet that was running, it was a continuous flush. So it was filling, that's only a 500-gallon tank out there. You can run 500 gallons in
Yeah, but
a few
it would
minutes.
take 500 gallons, a thing on the back of the commode, about 2 or 3 gallons. Water flow rate, 2 or 3 gallon a minute. That's it.
Well, now keep in mind, 500 gallons, a septic tanks stay full.
That's
They
extra.
stay full.
But not any, anything that comes out anything, if you've got a leak, just say a commode leak. Anybody that's got their house knows that. If a commode leaks, it don't back up into your
Right.
house.
This
If
wasn't
you've got a line that's open, even on your tank, it's gonna flow out the overflow.
This wasn't leaking. It was a flush, the flushing, it was just,
Okay, well, if it flushes, it's not gonna, well, I'm talking about an open valve. Even if it were completely open, it wouldn't.
it was completely open.
Okay, if it's completely open, it's still only gonna give you a rate of about 3 to 4 gallons per minute, that's it. That's all you're gonna get. And that should be, you think about it, if
If you
it's,
take your water hose out back, you're gonna squirt out more than.
if you take a water hose out back, that's a 3/4 inch line. Okay, if you take your water hose and you open it up, you wouldn't get that big a rate of flow. You're not gonna get that big a rate of flow. Think about this, because last year you said it was leaking between 50 and 100 gallons per minute. That means that you've got to take a water hose. You take a 55-gallon drum, you hold a 3/4 inch line, it's gonna take you a long, long time to fill it up. The line,
I
even
don't
if it's,
recall 150 gallon a minute, but. all
no,
I
you
know-
said between a 50 to 100 gallon.
I don't recall that. All I know is that the toilet was on
Yeah,
and it was at full throttle flushing. It didn't stop. It was
yeah.
continuous.
Well, it's not gonna be, it's still
And when we turned it off, it stopped coming up. So,
if you turned it off,
we turned the water off and it stopped coming up in the floor.
I still don't. Have they ever flushed that line? Have they ever taken a snake and run it through the line?
Yes, we did.
And that should take care of it.
Nothing in it.
Huh?
They snaked it and I think we even,
You have that gasoline power snake that you've got, if you run it through the line,
yes, we did.
regardless of what you got going through there, that'll handle. You could take 5 garden hoses, stick in that line, and it wouldn't back up. It'd simply go out your overflow on the thing, wouldn't back up. Okay, but that's, yeah, where's the budget? I gotta hurry, I gotta get home. Or I gotta get back to my office, paper put up. All right, anything else?
I'm gonna read a budget summary really quick, and then, we'll go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need to ask you something, Tammy. Okay. All we're doing is just a budget, right? Well, we're not doing any salary schedules or anything, correct?
It's just discussion. If we can just keep it at the budget, I'm happy as heck.
Okay, are we,
Get out here.
I want to make sure that in our salary schedule, there are not any
No.
positions allocated or anything like that.
No, I highlighted on one schedule of the ones that had no positions and the ones that we deleted from the salary schedule simply because no one held those positions.
What
And I
color
can
is
give
that?
you that. I'll give this to you. Let me
Okay.
read the budget
I'm
real quick.
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we do this real quick and
Sure,
just finalize?
sure, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Let me give these out to you. And this is just your budget summary and highlights. It's kind of a condensed of what you might need to know about the tentative, and of course it is a tentative. We'll do the working budget in September. And the budget summary is just so that the board is informed. Loss of current year, fiscal year 15, current year $450,000 of the utility taxes to date, and I've shared that with the board. Loss of fiscal year 16, which is next year, $250,000 in sick funds, which is the state's forecast.
That's enrollment loss, right?
Yes. Loss of capital outlay, the use of capital outlay monies in general fund for fiscal year 16, which is $174,729. And of course, this is because of bonding. The capital outlay money next year, going forward in fiscal year 16, going forward, will be used for bonding potential. Tax assessments, as we saw last special board meeting, has decreased. We have to allow for step increases for next year, and still have a 2% carryover into next year. And of course, allow for the 2% state mandated raises for fiscal year 16. The additional KISBIT payments, general fund debt, for current year, $156,721. That's what we paid in this last year. And next year, it will be $90,781. Possible increase, not possible, probable increase in workers' comp due to current claims. Mandated raises affect not only general fund, but also grants with salaries. And as federal and state grants decrease, while salaries are increasing, general fund portions of grants increase.
Wait, again, let me settle that in my head again.
Okay.
Mandated raises affected not only by general fund, but also grants with salaries.
Yes.
So is that just talking about people that are under grant pay are also getting an increase? Okay.
Yes. All personnel.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Coal severance dollars, this is just making you aware, support around $60,000 in our family resource funds currently. So if coal severance dollars deplete or go away, we're good for the fiscal year 16, just to keep in mind and be informed. General fund special ed board paid expenses are always increasing as general fund. School allocations at this moment are utilized to the maximum. And of course, loss of sick funds for the high school, which we were used to supplement salaries and supplies. And we have substantially adapted to that this current year. Approximately $90,000 to $100,000 in unreimbursed field trip expenses are just an expense. State mandated raises, state raises not 100% supported by state, and 2% raises slightly increased in sick of fiscal year 16. Must sustain, I did misspell that, sustain raises as state money decrease in fiscal year 17, and I'm talking about possibly sick money decreasing in 16 and 17. And of course, all budgets are just what they say. It's a budget operating under what we know, estimates and trends, and budgets are a framework that we work within and guide us toward a desired outcome.
And keep in mind also, as we talked the other night, the nursing program that we
Yes.
may be looking at, we have to keep nurses in our buildings, and whatever the outcome is, and whatever it's negotiated or agreed upon with the local health department, at the end of the day, we have to have nurses in our schools. I mean, it is, sometimes it's the only source of health care for our kids. We're transporting kids to the school. It's a good avenue and access for health care, not just education. But our attendance suffers if we don't have nursing services, because parents are more reluctant to, especially smaller children, reluctant to send their children to school if they have a stomach ache or headache or they're feeling a little sick. Parents will sometimes send their kids to school knowing that there's a school nurse there. And certainly we have an increasing population of students that are identified as having medical issues that must be attended to, whether we have a potential for food allergies, or we have individual education plans that require nursing services as well. So I'm hesitant to put a dollar figure on it, but it's at least 5 figures and approaching 6. The health department has a board meeting on May 18th, which I plan on being there. And hopefully we can continue to reach some agreement to where the burden of the cost will be shared in our community, because it's still revenue, that we're tax revenue, whether it's local or coming out of schools. It's local revenue.
You know, they just purchased for a large number, a large dollar number figure, some property that used to be the fire departments, you know, behind their building. I think they're going to use it as a, I don't know what they're going to use it as. Someone said parking or whatever, but, you know, and I'm not ready to call anybody, tell them to fib or anything like that, but it seems to me that if an agency was in a need of money, they wouldn't be spending such a large amount of money. It hurts me that that if we're not able to come to some kind of agreement, even and you may know, or somebody on this board may know, or there's two steps of nurses, right? There's a RN and then there's LPN. And is an LPN lower than an RN?
Yes.
Well, what do we have? Oh, well, sure, wow. Of course somebody on the board knows, but
But you know.
what do we have right now serving our school children?
RNs.
RNs.
Okay.
Is there any way that, I mean, you know, to have some service and to have more services, you pay a LPN less money.
For the services that we need, LPN can do everything.
You need what?
An LPN can do everything, just basically RN can do except push potassium.
Might that be a suggestion to look at?
It's an option we're pursuing. I've called one of the, actually she's a recruiter and director of Highlands and some other area hospitals for healthcare personnel, whether it's physicians or nurses. And her response to me was that I was looking for a source of LPNs, or RNs for that matter, new RNs coming out of school. And hospitals today primarily just hire RNs, and they've gone away from LPNs because of the level of care, which has been pushed down from instead of a physician, the cost of a physician seeing a patient have gone to nurse practitioners and physician assistants. And so hospitals have seen the value of rather than hiring a physician, of having to do some patient care, that they have an RN who may be on track and becomes a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. And so they've just gone to RNs rather than having LPN, who are very, very limited in what they can provide in healthcare. But as Kathleen has stated, that's all we require. But finding a source for those, and right now I've got to call into Big Sandy, because I believe they have a program down there for the 2-year assistant nursing degree. We have a wonderful, I've even talked, of course, Ms. Goebel and Ms. Williams down at the ATC are both RNs, and we have a wonderful healthcare program that prepares our kids for that assistant, nursing assistant. We're hoping to, it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to begin recruiting and tapping those kids, saying, here's a path of success for you in school nursing. Because I believe if we look at other districts, it's a lot more, it's going to be more efficient to have LPNs rather than RNs.
Do other school districts around here do that? I mean, are they switching to LPNs?
RNs, they're getting them from their health departments. And we've been very fortunate in the district here that we have not had as much of a cost burden share with the local health department as other districts.
Now, what about home
Very
health?
fortunate.
Have you ever thought about checking with home health? Martin County Home Health?
There you go.
No, they have nurses. Nurses runs their program. They're based out of Florida.
I'm certain we're going to reach something. It's going to be something.
If you have something that says, if you don't deal with me, we'll go here and not help.
It's a leverage. This is on camera. That's why I don't want to throw numbers out there. This is a public meeting, it's a discussion, but certainly in the negotiations with the health department, you know, I know we're going to come, because we're both public service providers,
Yeah.
education and healthcare. And I know that the community at large wants us to work together.
Sure. And I think Steve, Mr. Ward is a man that will work with the schools.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, he's been with schools before. I don't know if you know his background, but he has worked in schools, and he knows the importance of the community. He's a good guy.
Yes, he'll work with us.
Well, plus they are a taxing district. I mean, they get their money from public. I mean, they do a lot of good things.
We just need to, like you say, strive to cooperate one with another. I mean, I'm like with Mickey too. I'd love to see us have a nurse at the high school. I think it's been needed for, you know.
It's a stabilization of exactly what you were talking about. We've got more and more kids that have pre-existing conditions that come to school, and you know, whether it's asthma or whether it's you know, and we see these red light and blue light, which, by the way, I'm quite glad to see them put on there, so that it keeps us updated. But you know, situations where nurses are needed that would come between the nurse and the
911 responders.
yeah, the responders, and so they could be stable, because you know, God help us, we never want to lose a child or even have it severely injured at school when we could help. And I think Mr. Ward understands that, and I think he'll work with us. I really do.
And a lot of kids are going to go to school because they can get their medication given by the nurse there in school and don't have to miss. So it helps with attendance. And we've got some nurses that work real hard out in that school system, because we've worked with them, and they do everything for our children that they can.
Tammy?
Okay, I've given you two salary schedules, and one is last year's, and I've highlighted in yellow the positions that we spoke about the last board meeting, and I have removed the ones that have either no position, removed the ones with Head Start, because we'll give you one sheet to look at and approve, since that's a little different pay scale. And
So this, okay, this is the old one, this is the new one, this is the revised.
yes.
Correct, this one here.
Yes, and so the yellow ones we could possibly remove, except the summer food. You all wanted to keep that on there. And I had someone else highlight this for me, and she copied exactly what I did last time. So we left the middle part with the summer feeding program.
Yeah.
The others, we were able to remove and reduce our salary schedule from 3 pages to 2. So if you want to look, and if you have any questions or concerns about what was removed, then just let us know.
I have no idea what you're talking about this year and last year.
Okay, the one with the
This year
yellow,
and next year, okay.
the one with the yellow is the current year,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
And I had copied it, so it does say 15, 16, but that's the current salary schedule.
This
Okay.
is,
Yes,
okay, and this is not.
and this one
Yellow
is
is
the
the
one.
current. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
This is the one that I removed the yellow highlighted columns, because most of those, except the summer feeding, except for the summer feeding. And those
Okay,
were
this
because
one
no
remains?
one,
This
yes,
remains?
we left that because I think someone indicated they wanted to leave that. So I removed the ones with no positions on this 3-page salary schedule with the highlights.
Okay, well, this is, we're here on the end, is that the Old Family Resource Center? Is that when we consolidated the schools? There's no one in this position, coordinator?
It could have been, it could have been.
I'm just looking at,
And then I
okay, the
removed,
community liaison, is that the parent involvement coordinator, or?
no, No, that parent involvement is a certified salary schedule.
Okay, so what is this? You know, who had this?
It may have been on there for a couple of years with no one in it. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, this here.
Which one?
The two yellow ones?
Yeah, the yellow on here, because it's just Title I. And I knew that was a parent involvement coordinator.
School, for some reason, I'm thinking a long time ago, we had an assistant in there. Because this is classified salary schedule. So it would have, yeah, it could have been, it could have been. or-
Okay, well, thing about it is, we made a motion, first year to abolish all positions not filled in fire school.
Right.
So it'd be nice if we could get every job that no longer exists, job that didn't, because you look at this, and I'm not blaming you or anybody,
No,
I'm just
and
saying,
Yes.
you look at this and you think, okay, if there's no one in this position, then it don't need to be,
That's right, and so we removed it.
okay.
You don't see the highlights, we
I
removed
can see the
it.
highlight, yeah.
Yes, so we
yeah.
removed that, and if you look at the two-page salary schedule, that's where these are removed, and this is updated.
Okay.
Yes,
Thanks
yes,
for
we did.
reminding me of that.
Yes, we did, we removed that one.
All right,
So the yellow one, other than the summer feeding, has been removed on the two-page salary schedule, and we condensed from 3 pages to 2 pages.
Okay, so we just don't have a one without the highlighted and not without the position? Would it have just been simpler to take these completely off?
That's the same.
Okay.
That's that one. You're welcome. That one is the one that we removed, the highlight. I just wanted to show you
Oh, okay.
what we removed.
Okay.
And removing those enabled us to go from a 3-page salary
So the
schedule
only
to a
ones in
2-page.
yellow have been removed except the.
So just ignore
Some,
this.
just
Just
the
ignore
some,
this.
right.
This is just to show us what it was before.
But I wanted you to be aware of the changes that we made so that you,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
One thing I was wondering about too, Board, is that are we in our extended pay, are we double?
How many, how many extended days is one person allowed to get? 55?
It's
That's
maximum
240. Maximum's 240. I mean, for our district.
for our district.
The extended days is 55 for one
Yes,
person.
for, when we're talking about certified. And there's no employee in the district that's beyond 240 days. But for, because classified are contracted, based on the position, the contract days in the position, it's not 185, basically it's 180 for classified. That's what it's needed for CERS retirement, needs 180 days for retirement purposes. And so that's where it starts with the classified.
Is that what you were asking me? What were you-
No, I think you were asking if we go, well, I guess you were, if you were double or triple and.
I was
Dipping what?
I was going to ask, and I didn't think that might be the word for it, Lois, but yeah, is anybody doing a service and getting paid extended days that also are 2 people doing the same thing? That's what I'm asking. So it is like a double dip.
Yeah.
So is there anyone on here, and I don't, of course, don't want to hear names and nobody wants to, but if Lois and I have the same, doing the same thing or on paper, then, and it only takes one person to do it, then shouldn't there just be either Lois or I, and it shouldn't be both of us doing it, And do we have any positions like that that are like mirroring each other?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, we do. We talked about it last meeting. Are we jumping to extended days now, or are we staying somewhere else?
I don't know, I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget about it.
We won't.
Okay.
We
we're
won't.
on the salary schedule, so that's, yeah.
But you can go to last Thursday's meeting and see all the extended days and on the iPad here, when we get, unless.
On the
we're jumping-
attachments, yeah.
Unless are we jumping to that right now, or are we still gonna go?
That's up to the board. I mean, we've gone through the classified, and I know there's going to be some more discussion on that as we move forward, because I do want to, as I shared with you, I do want to see the instructional assistants. There's going to be 2 other lanes or 2 other schedules, because we need to get the school secretaries and the school finance clerks out of the instructional assistant. Does that make sense? The instructional assistant on the classified pay salary or pay schedule, if you'll look on the first page there, it's instructional assistant, INSTR, ASST 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, under instructional assistant, there are actually 3 job classifications underneath of that, and we need to break that out. It's got to be broke out,
Where are you?
right here.
Does it have the same,
Okay. Okay, I thought we weren't
No,
releasing this.
no, it's on the other one.
It's on both of them. Okay.
sir, do all 3 have the same pay scale? You just want to separate
Yes.
them as titled?
At a minimum, I would like to break them out to where you can see school secretary, instructional assistant, and school finance clerk. If they stay the same pay, that's fine. At the minimum, we need to break those out, because they're 3 separate job classification titles. Now, as we move forward, I do have some recommendation on some raises, if our budget can sustain it this time around. And I'll bring that forward in our next board meeting, and you'll probably see it in Friday View. If the board would like to see that, or if our budget can sustain it, Tammy and I are still, she's getting nervous right now when I'm talking about raises, but if our budget can sustain classified, it's been, in my experience here since July 2013, that was one of the main things that we wanted to work on, and I think we have been good stewards for the last 2 years, and we may have an opportunity to do that. Now, I don't know, since we're getting hit with a lot of other unforeseen items, whether it's a decrease in revenue unexpectedly, or with the unexpected increase in the cost share of, for example, nursing program. And I'm not shifting the burden or saying that's the reason why classified won't get raises. But at the end of the day, there's only so much cookies in the jar. And I think we're in a place where if our budget can sustain, that we do something with our classified salary schedule. It's time. We can't have people working 27 years and making $9 an hour. We just can't do that.
So this instructional assistants would be secretary and what else? The finance?
Right now, there are 3 job classifications in that. One is instructional assistant. One is actually there's 4, isn't there? There's instructional assistant, there's school secretary, there's school clerk finance. Is the attendance clerk in there too?
Yes.
And the attendance clerk is in that.
Okay, I got attendance clerk, school secretary, clerk finance, and what else?
Instructional assistant.
Okay, what's an instructional assistant? Just an aide?
Yes.
Yes.
Paraprofessional.
I need to get those from you.
So they all make the same amount of money. An aide makes the same thing as a... Okay.
And it's clerk.
Like I said, I'm glad to hear you made some, like with our classified, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done. Because they deserve
And
it.
secretary.
And as we move forward, and I keep using that term, but the board can always increase, the salaries. Meaning, on June 15th, or 45 days prior to the first day of student attendance, the salary schedules, people have to know, actually it goes to certified, but all of our employees will know a minimum of what they're making for school year 15-16. If in July, after we do our AFR, and the AFR is the annual finance report that shows ending balances, and we balance the books and we're into another fiscal year, we're going to take another look at it then, if it takes that long, and if the budget can sustain some increases to our classified salary schedule, then that's what I'm going to recommend. And I'll just share with you, and I think, going back, looking back at the time I sat here with the board when I was interviewing, and the board was sharing your needs and your ideas and what you would like to see, that was one of those items. And we've made some very difficult decisions over the last 2 years, and we've been on a financial diet to where we can position ourselves financially, we can actually consider these things. Because if you remember 2 years ago, it was, you know, we froze salaries and we froze increases, annual increases, step increases, and it was just an adjustment to the finances of the district. So I think that rather than a 1% or 2% across the board raises, I don't think that's the way to go. I'm not a believer in that. Now, the board may choose to do so, and the board can certainly do that. But I do recommend targeted increases, that there are some job classifications that demand more compensation for recruitment and retention than others. So again, that'll be a board decision, but I think we may be in a position to at least consider that.
There was some word that I've got to put with that. It used to be, oh, it's sort of like merit pay. Right?
Pay for performance?
Merit pay.
I don't know. What's that mean?
Merit pay.
Yeah.
Now, how would you define that?
If you earn it, you get,
Well,
I mean, you
if they think you have earned it,
yes.
then you
Get
get
an
a
increase.
higher thing. That's what a lot of,
Wait a minute.
there was a big fight for that years ago with the increase with the teachers.
Okay, but we're talking about not individuals, just certain job.
No, I'm not talking about merit pay. I think that's individual based on, like, in an individual classification, who,
Well, I understand what you're talking about. It's like a cousin to it, I guess.
Yeah,
it might be,
Yeah.
but there are some job classifications that, well, for instance, I mean, if you're taking a school finance clerk, school secretary, instructional assistant, and school attendants, those 4 job classifications, there's nowhere that, in any district, that they get paid the same, that I'm aware of. They're 4 distinct job classifications. And when they're all in the same lane, it is incredibly difficult to adjust any one of those without adjusting them all. It doesn't give the board much flexibility on it that way. But again, it's the board's decision. I just believe that some job classifications demand more compensation.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I just, just playing the devil's advocate and to myself. You ever do that? Well, that'll really mess you up.
Well, I think, hopefully we agree on it. I just don't think 1%, 2% raises across the board provide incentive, or I shouldn't say just incentive, but a reward or just compensation for annual increase. It's just bizarre that you do 1% and 2% across the board, and that's all you do. Now, 1% or 2% across the board for everybody, that's fine. I think cost of living, we try to keep up, but I also believe that this salary schedule in particular for this district needs fixed, and it's just, compensation on it is just not, in my opinion, it is not equitable. Any other questions on the, let's see, we went from classified schedule, we went to the days. Let's go back, I think that's where we started on are there people in the district in an extra duty that are doing the same thing and are getting paid for it, or similar?
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
I was asking
May
that.
I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is a grounds monitor
Where are you?
on the salary schedule, tentative salary schedule? On a nice page. The corrected one, not the one with the highlight. What is a grounds monitor? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Which one you looking at?
7, 8,
Abandoned
9.
maintenance, is that the maintenance position?
Second,
It is.
second page on this good one that you
the
guys.
custodian.
On the good one?
7830.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Number 6.
7830.
That was someone that was helping take care of the fields at one point.
So that's
So
nobody in
I
there?
could actually
You'll take
probably
that one off
remove
too?
that one off too.
Okay,
Mhm.
thanks, Lois.
And I will double check that with our payroll just to make sure that there is no one in, and if there is, I will make the board aware.
Is there anything else on here that,
You mean that may go yellow?
It may go yellow.
is there anything else on here that?
I'm
may
learning
go
the
yellow?
language here.
I don't believe so. We actually checked it, and I'm not sure. I'll double check that one with our payroll. I looked at it, I had our payroll look at it, and we'll review it one more time, very closely.
So we have a vehicle mechanic level 1, 2, and 3, right?
Okay, now there's one on that last page, the last item, no one disposition bus.
Bus monitor,
No, this one right here too, it's asking that.
the one in the yellows, is that what you
No,
know?
it's not in the yellow one, it's the other one, the last page, the last item. No one disposition bus.
Are you talking about these two things, Kathleen?
On page 3 of 3, the very last item.
This one right here,
7941 and 7942.
7942. Yeah, I think she's,
The yellow down.
What is the media clerk? Library media clerk?
Media assistant. When they had,
Will we still have that
Is it the old one, she said?
now that we have full-time
We have that
librarians?
Oh, that's the old one, I'm sorry.
It doesn't
Sorry.
matter.
and we'll have one at the
That's why
next
I highlighted this. That's
And,
page
next Monday, I'll have some more.
yeah, but she was looking at this,
We have
wanting to
at
know
least
what that
one
was.
split
Sorry.
between,
So we would need at least 2 of those or 1 of those?
at least two.
But if we,
That, yes.
then this comes off, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, I
If you
didn't
let me.
follow your all's conversation.
Here's what you're asking. What do we do with that instructional assistant that's in that library? I mean, if you delete it, where did that person go? So, you know, principals get pretty attached to these people in their building, and once you remove the need for that person, they still don't like to let that go. But yes, you can, and certainly it is the conversation I've already had with principals. Yes, so to answer your question, yes.
Yes, okay. But we'll visit that Monday, right?
I'm sorry?
We'll visit that Monday. Instruction monitor, what is that? 7319,
8. A teacher's aide.
okay.
Well,
That's not under instructional assistant? I don't know.
731.
It said this was a teacher's aide. Here it is. So about that, and then you have that.
Okay, I would think that was instruction monitor, I would think would be the same thing as an assistant.
Exactly. Yeah,
As an assistant.
instruction monitor would be the same thing as
As an assistant.
an instructional assistant. That's what they just said.
You see what I'm saying?
Also, why are they being paid much more instruction monitors?
That's what,
We just broke that out.
Oh, no, but I'm gonna take a break and get a cup of
No,
coffee.
this one is different. This one's
Wants to pull them
Nikki,
out.
would you care to get me a cup?
Assistants and put them together.
Huh? Here,
Yeah, I'll
you
get
can
it.
take, here, you can take my cup.
He needs to, he needs to have a
I'm sure we don't have just one listener.
If you want to, if you want, put me on the phone cup.
I don't mind it.
I'm just,
For you
I'm
all.
just a bum.
That's all right.
Why both of us walk?
That's not fair.
The reason why Dee is here, I know there's a question the other day, I'll try to get you out of here, Dee. There was a question about OT and PT services, so,
Oh, yeah, there
Oh,
was.
physical service.
I had no idea.
Okay.
there was we contract some, and we have full-time employee.
Why do we contract someone for a full-time employee?
Sean Hale is the occupational therapist. OT and PT require different certifications. They're different disciplines of services. And Sean, we're lucky enough to be
Which
able
one
to
is-
contract
which one
him.
is
Sean
his?
is OT.
Okay.
We're lucky enough to have him on staff. It's very hard to find an OT. If we didn't have him on staff, we'd be paying an outrageous amount to do a contract to provide those services. And if you look on there, I took this from the KDE website. There's a whole guidance document on there about related services, which are OT, PT, and speech. OT, and I put in parentheses beside where it says role of occupational therapist. If you think about it, that's your fine motor and your sensory. So like your small muscle groups, your ability to be able to hold a pencil or cut with scissors, those fine muscle groups in your hands, pre-academic skills and academic skills that you need when you're in school. If you have weaknesses in those muscle groups, then you can't do those. And a lot of our students with disabilities have those fine motor weaknesses. Then physical therapy, and we contract with INS Physical Therapy for that because it's very hard to get a physical therapist on your staff because they can make much more money in the private sector. So, you know, if you think about, I don't know if anybody here's been to PT before, I've been because of a car accident. They charge an astronomical amount per hour for their services and the equipment that they use to help you while you're there. So, but anyway, we do contract them because we haven't been able to find, or, you know, there's just not physical therapists out there that want to be contracted by a school system because they can make more money, like I said, in the private sector. But physical therapy is your gross motor, I put that in the parentheses, and that's your large muscle groups. And a lot of our kids with severe disabilities, they may need help with positioning, gait, being
Do you
able
have
to
another
walk.
one?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry
holding
too,
it.
I just needed another cup of coffee.
I've got a copy over here for myself. But those are some of the things that they do to help some of our more severe kids. Right now, we have an estimated about 40 kids in the district who get PT services. They're spread out throughout the district in our 5 schools. In the past, when I first became director of special education, we had probably 75 to 100 kids that were receiving services. And so we kind of looked at our process of identifying kids to make sure we were following the state guidelines to make sure we're not providing services for medical services rather than educational, which is what it's meant for in the school system, and all that's on this paper. But so we've kind of refined our process and made sure that through the referral and the evaluations and assessments that the kids who are receiving services are truly eligible for those services and need them. Right now we have the contract with INS Physical Therapy. In the past, when we've had contracts, we've paid well over $120,000 a year for them. The past few years, Trish has given us a contract that doesn't have a fluctuating schedule for additional costs, such as for doing Medicaid documentation that we require of them, the paperwork, attending ARC meetings. All of that's included within that. If you contract it out, you're looking at probably $75 to $100 per hour, depending on the level of experience. You're looking at paying them drive time. You're looking at paying them mileage in addition to that drive time. So a lot of the costs you would be paying if you contracted with like these school services providers that try to well, I get phone calls every day from people wanting to contract services, and so I kind of, you know, I always ask because I'm looking to save money if we can, but from what I found, the contract that we have with them is saving us probably $20,000-$25,000 just off the top if you look at
What is our services, what is our cost for the service?
It is, for the 40 students we have right now, is it 84?
84.
84,000.
$84,000. And this is not, the 40 students are identified,
Through the ARC process for students with IEPs.
okay,
Yeah.
they don't all have IEPs.
Yes, if they receive OT and PT, that's the only way you can receive OT and PT in a school system is if a student has a disability and their disability
So that.
has that impairment of occupational therapy or physical
Okay.
therapy that they need that related
So these
service.
are all for the,
Right, because it can't be just based on medical. Like, for instance, my son Dylan, when he was little, had fine motor weakness. He could not write. His fine motor muscles in his hands were very weak. He couldn't hold his pencil correctly. He couldn't cut with scissors. and he had a terrible time, but he didn't have a disability, so that's considered more medical. It didn't have an adverse effect on his education. He wrote, it looked like chicken scratch. It wasn't pretty, but he didn't have a disability that adversely affected his education, so I paid for him to go to private practice for occupational therapy. But that's just an example. It has to be educationally based.
Do you have a rim and Nerf ball?
Well, that's his gross motor skills. That's
Well, my kids could do that.
he always had good gross motor
Yeah, the
skills. It
little,
was just
yeah,
his
the little
fun
Nerf
motor.
ball and the little.
He'll kill me for telling that story here on camera.
Yeah. You keep running to the world.
Yeah.
Gosh, I shouldn't have.
You've already made a fool of yourself.
Oh,
Not you, honey.
sorry about
There I go with that honey again. Well, listen, I was curious about the price of surrounding districts. School districts, they also, I guess, contract with
For physical therapy, yes.
physical therapy.
And I've talked to other directors, we have monthly cadre meetings in Ashland, and we all talk about that, you know, if there was some way to save money. I mean, we're always asking, has anybody found a rehabilitation service that provides this, that's any cheaper? But it's pretty much, I think, ballpark from what I've talked to other directors.
The 80,000.
Yeah, because like I was telling them, I think when you stepped out to get your coffee, if we tried to put one on staff full-time, they're not going to take a full-time position in a school system for that amount of money when we all know what they could make per hour in the private sector. It's a lot of money.
Do you get any?
That's what I'm encouraging my daughter to do.
Do you get any reimbursements from Medicaid or
Yes,
insurance?
did we run those numbers? You didn't have time?
No, Munis has.
Oh, yeah, Munis has been down today. I was hoping to tell you all that. We do, and that's part of what they do for us, our OTs and our PTs. They fill out all the documentation. If a student is Medicaid eligible, then we bill and we get some reimbursement, which helps offset the cost of.
So we get the reimbursement from Medicaid?
Yes. Not the complete amount, but the students who are
but
Medicaid
Any
eligible.
reimbursement goes to,
And where would that show up at?
It comes
The
back
reimbursement.
into the,
We have a project coded just to show what comes back into Medicaid, from Medicaid.
But what account would that go into?
That
Where would
goes
that show up at?
in a Fund 2.
Fund
It's a
two?
Fund 2.
Okay.
And it is restricted, general,
Yes, restricted.
restricted, that's what I thought.
do you have a ballpark, like, do you have
It
any?
seemed like last year it was around 12 or 14,000.
Yeah, it's not a great deal, but I mean, it does help
Yeah.
offset the
12 or
cost of
14,000.
that.
so we can minus that from the
Right,
80 and
right,
to get our cost out.
right. It comes back in for those services, you know, obviously, you're billing for those services, so it goes back in.
Any other questions for Dina? Or?
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dina.
You all can always call me anytime if you've got questions or whatever. I'm not giving you my cell number. I'm just kidding.
I have.
Thank you all.
I'm just kidding.
That's what helps me when I get through the day. That's good.
Okay, so back to this, instructional monitor. Is that not the same thing as instructional assistant? Y'all see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you
First
mean.
page? Yes.
Yeah, what's the difference between instructional monitor and instructional assistant? I mean, we want to break down the instructional assistants into, what, 3 different things. So what's the difference between
Or 4 different things.
And that instructional monitor may have been added as a Head
Well, then
Start
look at the yellow.
position. So I'll need to.
What number is it?
I will, I have it
Okay,
highlighted
that's
and I will
instructional
find that
assistant.
out.
Okay, then you have the instructional monitor here.
Right here.
Yes, that's
Okay.
it. Yes. Last year, we attempted to add the Head Start on here, and it just may have carried forward, but I will find that out definitely to see if it's one of
Yes.
our employees or whether it was just a Head Start salary added to the salary schedule. We really have not revamped his salary schedule in So this is a good thing.
Last year.
What,
We did a lot last year, but
Bookkeeper, high school assistant clerk, what's that? Finance, I'm thinking? Would that be under finance clerk over here?
Yes, that's what I was speaking with Tammy about a moment ago. It's
It's the
the,
same thing?
it's this, well, if you look at the pay side, the pay scale, yeah. Which one are we looking at? Which one did you say, 7192?
Bookkeeper. No, 8165.
Those are upstairs, those are Tammy's.
Oh, this is for the office, the central office.
Is that yours?
which one?
Well, it says high school, it says HS,
where are you
High
looking?
school,
right here.
County clerk one.
8165, the last one.
Bookkeeper, HS.
And then that's their finance person at the high school.
what,
So
what,
are we not gonna put that under instructional assistant with the other finance clerks? No or yes?
It's on a different pay scale. The numbers are different.
The elementaries are the ones that were in the same boat. The middle school and high school, I think, were always broken out one day.
Yeah.
there's almost a $6 difference an hour in the instructional assistant and the instructional monitor. Why is that? I don't
And
understand.
that's why I'm thinking that possibly may be a Head Start salary. But I will look. I'm gonna research that. That's what Lois asked me. And
Oh,
I've highlighted it, and I will find out, because it may be a carryover from Head Start last year when we tried to incorporate their salary schedule. I'm not saying it is, but that amount makes me think that it was probably a
yeah,
Head
it's
Start
pretty
salary.
heavy duty.
Mhm.
So you think
I believe
it's a
is.
federal,
Yes,
the instructional monitor?
yes, and their salary is so different. Their fiscal year begins October 1, and so sometimes they get cost of living raises in the middle of the year. So we're just gonna put that on a separate salary schedule for you guys, and that way you'll see what they do make, and it'll be with all the other salary schedules.
Thank you,
It'll just
Ms.
be-
Sloan.
You're welcome.
So their fiscal year starts,
Their fiscal
what,
year,
3 months later than ours?
yes.
What's weird, I mean, it has to be,
Is it October 1 or November 1?
I
October,
think it's November 1, October.
November 1 ends
Right.
in October.
yeah, but November wouldn't be, well, that wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't be a quarter. I mean, it'd have to be every quarter or what, or,
My mind was October 1, but it could have been I'll find the date out for you guys and put it on their salary schedule. And that way, when their salary schedule changes, we'll pull it back into a board meeting and just share it with you guys.
And what is a dispatcher?
Dispatchers,
It's on the second.
it is at the bus garage.
Oh, okay. And the district tech coordinator, chief info officer, what is that?
That's
That
in
is-
here at central office. One position.
Just like right here. Anytime.
what is a district tech coordinator? I didn't see that.
It's on the second page, 7501 on the end.
Okay, I see
Now,
that.
that's here at the
Yeah.
central office, that's one person.
Okay, that's, chief information, is that like a,
CIO, Chief Information Officer.
okay, who is, okay, this is a client, is this
For
a client?
technology or what?
That's a
What is it?
classified, yes,
That's a classified position?
it's a classified position.
Okay, who,
I wouldn't say that.
chief information officer, that is a, what do they do? I mean, it's just, I mean, are they a PR person? I mean, do they?
No. I wish.
So what's, I don't know, chief information officer, what is that?
It's a district tech coordinator. In most districts, with a certified, it's going to be the chief information officer.
What do they do?
The district technology coordinator, DTC, they run the platforms for all the technology in the district.
So that's district tech coordinator.
Is there someone that has the same job as them?
No.
Is that the position that Dr. Kissinger had at one time?
Yes,
Okay, is that right? That's,
kind of, sort of,
Yes, among others.
yes.
yeah, with his other things too, yeah. I
Yes.
understand. Can I ask a question since, we'd had this in past meetings where we found out that, Mr. Goble's salary had, or the person that he replaced, the $10,000 difference, and, we didn't, per year, if everybody remembered that, and how that got cut. We asked our, board attorney, and he said he didn't know, he didn't have any idea, how this position was, a few years back paid $10,000 more than what it pays now, Tammy. I mean,
Would that be considered computer tech?
I think it's listed as a district technology person. Yes, the district technician.
It is what now?
525 is the code, I believe.
it is,
What is the number?
7525, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
okay, it's 7525?
Yes.
Mhm.
See, I've noticed there's,
And bus driver trainer, do they work all the time, or is that just a one-time? I mean, they surely doesn't train bus drivers every day.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I noticed the same trainers made less money than bus drivers. Is that what you're talking about, Lois?
No, I'm thinking we probably don't need a bus driver trainer every day.
Every day, she said, like a full-time bus driver
Like
trainer.
all day
We don't
long.
have one full-time.
No, we don't have full-time, but we have trainers who are drivers.
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you something else. When the trainers, when the trainers who make less money than drivers, when they train, they're not bumped down to what they make trainees.
No, we addressed that, if you recall.
Okay.
I think I was sitting in the audience when you addressed that, sir.
Yeah, that was addressed in a
Yeah,
previous meeting.
no, they should get the same money. On this computer tech job, why is it, it's less money now than it was in 11-12? Why is that?
Where do you see 11-12 at?
I have one from 11-12.
Oh, okay.
I have a salary schedule from 11-12
Oh, okay.
for the same position. Now, it gives the appearance, because you look at it, okay, for example, in a computer tech with 10 years experience is going to get $15.88 an hour. And,
5088.
huh? No, it's $15.88
Oh,
an
I thought you
hour.
said 5088.
Yeah, and in, 3 years ago, they made more money than that. Why is that?
This is a position, like a lot of positions that are one deep, sometimes they are tailored to the person that is in the position. And if we look at the history of this, which is quite complicated, but I don't have, trying to understand this, Tammy has, and I have talked about it many times. One of the issues we addressed already is by creating the two positions at the district, because there was never a position that was created. Mike Kessinger retired on October 10, 2012. Mike Muncy, who was completed his contract in June of 2012. Is that right? Is that what you have here? Mike Muncy was in the position as the DTC, holding that position, because it was only Mike
Wait a minute.
Kessinger.
Okay, what position?
Well, in that lane of computer technician, but he
Just
was,
computer technician.
right.
Yeah.
Mike Kessinger was the DTC, and there was a computer technician. And then
Okay,
there was a
where was Mike Muncy's position on the salary schedule?
computer technician, 11 and 12, right? Okay.
Okay, Okay, so he's the same thing as this, right here, computer technician, right?
Yes. And so when Mr. Mullins,
Do you want me to give a quick summary? Okay, and it's complicated. When Dr. Kessinger left, he was a certified person, and among his titles was the DTC. There was never a DTC position in a classified position. It was a certified. It was never a DTC position in the classified position.
Okay, what position did Mr. Muncy have? Was it a classified position?
It was a technician, computer technician.
Computer technician, same thing here, okay.
Yes. Okay, so when Mr. Muncy left, that position was vacant. And the person who now holds the DTC position came into Mike Muncy's position.
How
Because,
could he do that if it was,
well, he was hired into that and has evolved into the DTC. But it was originally, he took Mike Muncy's position.
I really think that I would encourage the board, we don't have legal here, but I would really suggest you do this in closed session. There's a lot of names that were thrown out here.
yeah, we're not, okay,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
You ask a very valid question, sir, and how this evolved, it's just,
So
Well, I'm
we
talking
do-
about how it, you know, the other salaries increased, this decrease, doesn't make sense.
Well, if one person moved into this, they were making half of what they're making now.
I feel like I don't know what to say and what not to say. If it's in closed session, I can give you a quick summary, as I've shared with Mr. Meadows, what we researched and what was happening here in the district. At that time, I don't feel comfortable speaking in public to all the different scenarios that happened.
Well, should we go into closed session?
we can't tonight. I mean, you can, like on
Special
Monday, if you'd
meeting.
like to go in on Monday.
Well,
Okay.
Okay, can
Fully
we have a
accurate.
closed session just for that?
I think there'll be more questions that,
Right,
that we
you're right,
need to
yeah.
go
So
into
let's mark that as one.
a
Okay.
session.
Can you make it one?
I've got a couple questions that I don't feel comfortable in bringing up in an open meeting, a work session. So I think that we, Madam Chair, if it'd be okay, we do go into closed session for discussion of
But he said we couldn't do it
these
tonight.
questions.
no, we can't do it tonight. but
We can't do it tonight, no, but I
We can
mean,
do it Monday night.
Yes,
Monday on the
ma'am.
agenda.
Yeah. No, the only reason I'm asking this, Tammy, is because I'm looking at just positions
Right.
with no names or anything attached to them.
Mhm.
And just wondering, okay, why have all the other positions increased, at least, you know, somewhat, while this one has decreased? Regardless of who's occupying that office.
And it goes to all the different, things that happened that year. That's all I can share with you at this point.
in defense of Mr. Ball, which I don't especially like to do, I think he was identifying the position with the name because it was easier.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
mean to.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, it was just a position, why does this, why is it less
And I don't
now?
think we've mentioned any current employees in those positions.
No,
No,
we
no, we have not.
Yes.
No,
We have not.
Mhm.
But I think
A closed session.
the young man was skirting around it.
Mhm.
And ice skating can be dangerous, can it, honey?
Oh, it is right. Really,
Yeah.
in a minute.
So that we can do closed session.
Yes, sir.
You see my,
Okay.
that keeps me happy. My grandson. Pretty much, I'm a happy baby.
Anything else?
I do not. Is it Mr. Meadows or the board?
Any more questions?
We-
So about these,
We pay approximately, well, I don't know, but extended days costs the district over $250,000, correct?
You're looking at our budget line items.
I didn't see it on the budget line item, but last week's,
You can go on
I'm
your,
not-
go on your iPad there, Mickey, and you can go to last Thursday's meeting, and you can get a list of the extended days.
yeah, I've got it in hard copy,
Okay.
ma'am, thank you though.
welcome.
Yeah, I got it after the meeting and, but, yeah. I think,
Extended days, on,
was it $274,000?
current budget is 274, yes.
For extended
Wow.
days.
Very
Good.
good.
Wow, good. You said you were forgetful today.
I am, but
I can't remember what
I've got it here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But,
So we probably pay $274,000 in extended days.
and it raised, I think last year, wasn't it 246?
Okay.
As a line item, but as a budget item, I think,
That's what we're looking at, the
Okay.
actual, what, the,
yeah.
right.
Okay, the actuals in 2014, 266, 543,
266?
543.
Oh, okay.
I have copies if you need one of these.
So it's not raising that much. It is
And
raising
actually, in the projection that we,
$8,000.
actually in the projection for fiscal year 16, it's gone down on our budget about 5,000 or 6,000.
Okay.
You can have it. I have more.
Amy, you do a good job. I'm not saying that because we go to church together, but no, she does do a good job, I'm playing. And I really appreciate your coming to the meetings and keeping us on track. I can imagine
I do too. I appreciate
what
it.
it would be like to, and I know the board a long time ago didn't have this, did they? I mean, we just,
So,
I
should
like-
we wait till the closed session and talk about the extended days?
What questions do you have back to me?
Well, most of them the same ones I had the other night. I mean, there's 2 middle school principals listed here, and there's only one.
We have scrubbed that list, so Tammy,
Okay.
We've had.
A more recent
Yes.
list?
Yes, we worked on that today, extended. Hope there's no typos, but if there is, you'll just know that
Well,
we stay very busy. No excuse,
Just
but
call
that's the
ladies
only
and
excuse I have. So, and spell check obviously doesn't work on Excel somewhere. Extended,
Okay, they're still there.
which one?
There's 2 minutes.
2 middle school principals, and there's only one.
Okay, well, we were having, yeah, I need to take that off. Well, I did. It has been a day. Our Munis, which
It
is
really
our
has.
accounting program, was supposed to do an update. Well, we're still not up and running, and we have deadlines ongoing upstairs, so I have marked it off, and it will be removed by the next board meeting. That is the middle school principal, the second one. There is no one in that position.
These are the academic extended days, correct? But we also,
administrative, and
yeah, administrative and,
then there's some, when it says academics down there, there's some that are school related.
there's
Okay.
not.
is there any athletic
Athletic.
extended days list?
That's gonna be on the second schedule.
Can I go ahead and hand that out?
Sure.
Oh,
And I have
Also-
tried to update that, but we'll see how this goes too. And of course, you know, there's a good checks and balances. There's wisdom in the council of many, so.
Okay, also on the counselor here at the middle school, there's only one of those. Right,
Yes. Is there
Yes.
two on there?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
two
so I
listed
will
here.
mark that one off also.
which one are we gonna mark off, the Title I or the
We
other?
have a middle school and then a middle school Title I.
Right, there's only one.
And what, no, we will take off the,
But middle school is, it's not Title I, we paid for that fully.
Right.
yes, so we'll take that one off.
And go up to the very top, there's no transportation.
Okay.
Where are you, sir?
The top there where it says assistant superintendent, director of people personnel, supervisor instruction, director of special education, then transportation, mark transportation off because that, it's actually assistant superintendent falls, and takes care of that.
Middle school principal.
Oh, yeah, just mark off one of those.
Mhm.
Right. And make a note of why. That position isn't being revisited, is it, sir? The transportation director?
Say it again, sir.
That position isn't being revisited to add, okay.
We've not heard anything about it, so, no.
I have no,
So we're taking 3 positions off that.
well, the thing I've noticed, I mean, you know, the,
Counselor.
Who is the high school, oh, well, I can't say who is. Is there a high school vocational education,
Yes,
TE academics?
yes.
Okay. What about,
FCC, or FCC. No, hey, I didn't get it right there.
okay, and the director of school cultures?
Yes.
where's that at?
I thought that was from SIG money. No?
It was, but this last year it was, the school wanted to keep that position, and they're using Title I for it.
Okay, are we using title money for the SIG director?
What are they?
No, school district, school culture.
The director of school
So
culture?
that's being paid for with Title I
With
funds.
their Title I. Is that right, Dave?
I'll have to double check that.
You know, I'm looking over this and, you know, I have no problem with, even, you know, as far as academic, you know, coordinator and band directors and all that, you know, I know they all work in summertime, they all get, very little money, for, what they do. But I can't understand this extended employment where we have a district athletic coordinator and a county athletic coordinator. What's the difference? I
It's
mean,
the
I'm
same.
thinking,
He told us last time it was the same. Is it still listed?
yeah. Yeah, because one's
So
getting
it's not the
three,
same because it's got two different
you know, 2 different
days.
salaries. Well, one's got a
Two
three,
different salaries.
you know, they've got $3,000 plus 30 days, and then the other's got $1,000 plus 10 days.
Well, he said one did the work, one did not. Let's give it to the one
Well,
that does the work.
What?
One did the work and one did not.
Yes.
Okay,
Is
what
that
did-
not what was said in last meeting? One did the work. I asked you if you knew, and you said, yeah, you knew which one did the work.
Well, I know there's 2 different people in there, and they are similar duties.
Well, if there's 2 people who, okay, there's
It's the
2.
same thing. The district director and the county is the same thing. District and county is the same thing, right?
Well, the county includes anyone who's using our fields like AAU, so the county is any athletic teams in the district using our facilities, whether it's our buildings, whether it's our grounds or whatever.
Okay, so how does that differ from a district athletic coordinator?
The district is only the district.
The district is the county. Correct?
No, the district only is responsible for our student athletes in our schools, not the county that's maybe in the summer or AEU programs or anybody using our facilities.
So the
Okay,
county
that doesn't
wide,
make any sense.
I
Why
know,
would you pay
I know.
the district if they're just for these students more than you pay the county? Does that make any sense to anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah or no? Why would you,
It doesn't make sense to me either.
the district athletic coordinator is responsible for what now?
For just the district,
I don't know where the district is.
which is the
It's
school
over to the right of that,
students.
Lois, extended.
I don't know how many kids, we're saying the county does the whole county. Students, fields, everything,
That's correct.
and district does, and I don't,
Just
it
the
could be
dis,
elementary.
just the
Just
kids.
that, all the kids in that school, or just
The programs in the schools.
in one school?
There is a district athletic coordinator, a county athletic coordinator, and where's the other one?
and a high school athletic director.
Where you found
What?
that? Where'd you see it?
Yeah, we have an high school athletic director up
Yes,
here
where
too,
is it?
I have no idea.
right here.
Yeah, I see
But-
it now.
Is that,
Oh, there's 3 people doing one person's job.
we have a high school athletic director, and we have a district athletic coordinator and a county athletic coordinator. I don't understand.
The county is doing, but the county does all the students, right?
Yes.
Is there
And the
anything
district
besides
does-
AAU that they do? Are there other
No.
things?
And the district does what, AAU and all that stuff?
No,
No,
district does
no,
the
the
students at
district-
one school, but the county is doing it too. There's no reason for that.
Why are you,
There's no reason for
why
the
do we
district and the
have,
high school. If,
It's
give
like
it to the
with a high
county.
school, which I've been once upon a time, you got a lot of paperwork with high school eligibility forms, which these others do not, do. I mean, it's a big job. As far as grades, you gotta send in, that's the high school, for KHSAA, you gotta work.
The county does that too.
but with
Well, you
high,
know, I don't know since, which the KHSAA is kinda controls a little bit or oversees a little bit in middle school, not a whole lot, but I don't know if they have to, as far as eligibility, I guess maybe some forms there on that, I don't know, but I do know the high school, there's a lot of paperwork.
what would the high school athletic
Eligibility
director,
sheets and all.
Is this 3 separate people?
would the high school athletic director do this?
It's 3 separate positions.
But is it 3 separate people?
No,
How many people are there?
2.
So
So
we have 3,
But
one
yeah,
is holding
keep in
at
mind,
least
the
2.
board's responsibility is to determine the positions with the responsibility, and then the schools and the district superintendent determine who goes in there. If you abolish or create, and you do that based on the position and responsibilities that need, the duties that need to be taken care of, whatever they are. So if you want to, if the board determines to take 3 positions and make 2, or 3 positions make 1 or 10, based on the responsibilities that have to be carried out throughout the year.
Which I think you suggested last year, and I spoke up and said, Lee, I think you suggested combining the.
Yes.
And that was my.
And I would make the same recommendation this year, at least combine the county athletic director and the high school athletic director with those together, and any,
I would like to see their job duties.
I just want to know the responsibilities of each.
well, the
Yeah,
high
I'd like to see
school
the job
athletic
duties of each.
director has more responsibilities than probably
I'm sorry.
most athletic directors.
Okay, so this district athletic director obviously is not at the high school, because we have a high school athletic director. So this district would have to be at the middle school or the elementary, right?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
You mean the person? The responsibility is district, but
One
the
time
person
we had
could be
like
at any
that.
building.
I don't know which duties changed, I guess, but at one time the county athletic director, I guess, kind of just took care of like elementary tournaments and
Well, can we see, Tammy, do you have that, do you have the,
duties.
we see
Yes.
how much they pay, but can you give us a list of duties for each position?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's what we need.
So I guess I'm still confused about this district and high school. It can't be both.
It should be.
The district is not at the high school then, right? The district is at one of the middle schools or the elementary.
No, the position is district.
The
You're
district
asking
would
about
be-
where the person is
Right, well, district would be taking care of these students, right?
in the entire district.
And district would be one school.
No, district is all schools.
I thought that's what the county did.
District, all schools. The county includes anyone in our community who wants to use our facilities for any athletic event.
that's like soccer.
Coordinating.
Coordinated that the gym's not being used when another group wants to come in and use it,
Which is not.
do the scheduling.
School.
I believe that these 3 stipend positions, extra duty positions, can be taken down to 2 very easily.
I think it could be taken down to 1. I haven't seen the list of duties, but it sounds like they're very similar and doing the same thing.
It'd be tough with all the
It
paperwork you gotta do as a high school
It would for
athletic
just
director.
one person to try to take care of them.
Well,
I think
maybe.
there could be the high school athletic coordinator and a district athletic coordinator, and I think, you know, if I can come back, no later than next Monday with job descriptions, those duties, and a recommendation on how to change those, because they do need to be changed.
Okay, does the high school athletic director only, is that person's only duties just at the high school? Do they have nothing to do with the grade school or, you know, middle school scheduling games and setting up? Is that the case?
It's very
It's
confusing.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Listen, we inherited this, okay, and I
That used to be
didn't
my
want to say that,
job.
but
No, I
he's cutting
understand.
the corner here.
I understand that.
And we do need to fix it.
Yes.
We can
I-
address
Well, what I want to know, sir, is if this is two different positions and
Three.
two different people under district and county, if it's two different positions and two different people, are both people doing their tasks that are required underneath
He's going to get
their
us.
job description?
Yeah, he said he'd bring us in the job.
I'll bring those
description.
descriptions, but let me give you my experience. There is, in my experience, you either have a district athletic, or a high school athletic coordinator and a middle school coordinator. And one is really like the assistant to the others, and they take care of the district, because typically your elementary programs are just gonna be taken care of by your principals, because they're not fall under Kentucky High School Athletic Association, and you don't have a lot of the forms and a lot of the compliance issues related to varsity sports. So, in my experience, my recommendation to this board would be, at a minimum, you would have two positions. One would be a high school athletic coordinator, because it's very focused and defined. For anywhere from scholarships, you gotta watch those, not only GPAs for eligibility, but the coursework. If students do not complete their coursework, like two language classes, they cannot compete in D1 level schools. So there's a lot of work that goes into making sure that, and you can't wait till they get to the senior year in the spring of their senior year to try to fix these things. So in my experience, what I recommend to the board would be the responsibility of the high
You
school
gotta worry
athletic
about the
coordinator district.
clearinghouse, NCAA.
There's a lot.
I mean, I did it for a few years, and it was,
And it's almost and
and some
Lois
schools,
really,
some schools went to like one for boys and strictly
Yeah.
boys and strictly one for
and the
girls.
Title IX is a big,
Got time on
big
that?
one. But we're almost to a full-time position for that district coordinator. I mean, it's almost a full-time.
Of course,
Okay.
you
know what I'm saying?
At the end of the school year, inventory sheets and.
Athletic coordination
clearinghouse,
stuff.
But I tell you, I never.
How would that be a full-time?
It wouldn't be. He
We're
could
just about there.
I can't,
Well, I'm just telling you, we're just about there.
I can't see it being a full-time. I mean, you know, we can't,
Well,
That's what I did, you had to fix a field.
I mean, when we have, I mean, we needed math and English teachers, and so that we need a full-time person in athletics, just to,
More and more children are
for
getting involved.
scheduling and all that, huh?
It's a lot of work. I mean, the
And then
whole
you gotta worry
programs you
about-
put on.
Which insurance and all that bunch of stuff.
okay, well then I think I know who the district is then. You're saying it's almost a full-time job. And we also have an elementary athletic director. Do we have a middle school athletic director?
We do?
We have an elementary one. Do we have a middle school one?
Where's elementary?
I don't see it.
No.
Where's that?
I don't see it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
The elementary's on there specifically for all of those, the basketball programs that we run.
Which this was this way when we
It's,
and
it's,
it actually was even worse.
yeah.
Well, guys, I think we need to cycle through this and clean it up. I really do. There's no reason for all of this.
We have, you know, it's very unfair. You have
We
like
have
middle school
textbooks that could be bought. with
soccer
this.
coach, boys, middle school soccer coach, girls, each one of them is $500. They don't even cover their fuel. But then you've got other things that are like $4,000, $4,000, and I'm not saying that these people don't earn their money. I'm not saying that. I'm just
Why
saying.
is there a discrepancy in the basketball head coach, the baseball head coach, and the, all all of them should be paid the same.
That's always been,
And football head coach, well, I think they should all be paid
yeah,
the same.
minor sports and major sports is, I've coached.
Well,
both.
I think they should all be paid the same. Girls and boys basketball, football, and baseball. I think they should all be paid the same. And softball, probably. And I would say that if we took the money from these things that we don't need, we would have the money for that. And the extended days, I don't even know how many extended days some of these get. But I think it should all be the same for all the coaches. I mean, like the high school especially. Especially football, basketball, baseball, and soccer.
I believe that there will be so many questions in a executive session concerning
We can
some
do
of the
that
things
Monday
that
also, too.
we're almost bringing up, that I don't see how the budget can be passed.
Without cleaning it up.
Yeah, with that, yeah, that's what I mean, at the regular meeting. So I think it'll have to be a
Well,
special meeting and we can have a special meeting to pass it
Sure you
to.
can. But the budget that as presented covers everything that's in stipends, everything. So if you reduce, it can only help it. But if you're gonna add, if you're just gonna move the chairs around, it's like a zero-sum game. It's not gonna, like if you take 500 from this one and increase this one 500, it doesn't affect the budget.
Oh, I think the empty positions that are listed, I think they should be taken. I mean, but I don't know how many empty positions there are because we can't go into executive session and say, who does this, who does this, who does this.
Well, you don't need to, and we can't even do that in executive
No.
session. We can tell you which ones are vacant. I mean, Tammy's run those today and again, folks, the municipal, it was just down, they were
I still
reloading.
don't have it up, and we have deadlines on it.
But what I'm saying is the budget, as presented, covers all the costs
Mhm.
with everything, and the stipends, the extra days and everything. If any of them are gonna be decreased, the budget's still gonna cover it, unless you're gonna try to increase something and
And the salary,
add to it
and the salary schedules do not have to be approved until June.
June 15th.
So you have a lot of time to work on your salary schedule. And as a person who has created budgets, someone had given me the advice that you always underestimate your revenue and overestimate your expenditures. So
Sure.
we have tried to do that on this budget. So, you know, and it's a tentative budget. I mean, if you're concerned, it's not an exact budget. You know, our working budget in September will be more exact. So it's whatever the board wants to do, but if it's your intention to pass the budget, then,
The tentative budget board is, you're showing KDE that you're not spending more than what you brought in. You can come in after May 30th and revise the budget. You can come in October, revise the budget. It's showing that the board is not passing a budget that's a deficit. You can't pass a budget deficit.
Okay, see, I'm confused because on this one, it's not on this one anymore though. On this one from the last time we met, it says county athletic director, 10 days and $1,000. And on this one, it says county athletic director,
1,002.
I saw 1,800 somewhere.
Well, that's the one up at the high school athletic director, up above.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was then.
So the high school AD gets what, $1,800?
He's gonna bring in the,
And what about, okay, and any extended days on top of that? None?
10 for the,
Okay, where's that at? I don't see 10.
oh, I'm talking about for the county and for district, which doesn't even make any sense. I would think that would be less, is 30 days.
That's what I'm saying, a high school athletic director gets $1,800, period, no extended days. The district athletic coordinator gets $3,000 in 30 days.
Okay, I need to write this down. What does the district athletic director do?
$3,000, well, they get,
Well, I'd rather bring in the duties. I'd rather bring
yeah, the
those
duties,
in.
yeah.
Mhm.
And as long as the budget's passed by before May 30th, so I can send it electronically, it really doesn't matter.
And these
Sure.
duties will have been performed in the past, right? Not just recent, right?
I would hope so, yes.
Okay. And then you'll bring the county, right?
Yes,
And the high school.
yes,
And these will be duties that were performed in the past.
yes.
Stipend plus you got a period to do your class period to do, it's still.
I'm gonna ask.
Change that, Roger.
The high school basketball head coach, is that both boys and girls?
Coach, I'm gonna get it, but
It's only listed once.
I didn't get any extended days for theater.
Where we at?
That was
And high school cheerleading coach, there's only one. There's only one
High school
squad.
basketball
in high
head
school.
coach,
There's
is
no
that,
JV
is that
squad.
both girls and boys?
it's gotta be something.
No, that is a good question. I mean,
They didn't have one this year, or?
They've not had one for a long time, that I know of.
what's that?
A JV cheerleading squad.
I don't know. Okay, but how do we, like high school basketball head coach, does each head coach make that?
I mean, you know, you have all these listed, obviously, someone is writing a check
Mhm.
for these amounts to someone.
Well, the basketball pre and postseason
There is not a
conditions,
high school cheerleading coach, JD.
Great.
I mean,
It's weights and all that. I never got that.
And I mean, like the extended days on the middle school, there's not, and that's a check for $6,268. That's the
Where's that at?
supplemental fee. I'm talking about on this first page. If it's listed, there's money going out for it.
That should be a assistant as well, like a JV squad, or if you had a football JV squad, it's gonna be an assistant. Maybe it's a term that should be thrown in.
What are you talking about?
The cheerleading
Cheerleading?
coach and the assistant. The assistant usually does a JV, but if they don't have a JV
We
now,
don't have a JV.
then it's just the assistant.
So the coach gets paid $1,500 and the assistant gets paid
oh, that's Karen.
Yes,
$1,000?
yes.
I did what it was, good candy. Good candy. Counting.
I hate
So
that.
both high school basketball head coaches get paid $4,000
A piece?
apiece? Or is that $2,000
No,
apiece?
it's 4,000.
Apiece?
They both make the same.
We talked about money pay, Vicky, I was trying, even before it's getting to, I try to get them paid by the wins, you know. Pay by performance, but. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, you tried to get them to?
I mean,
Would it,
That's pretty wild.
Then I think the baseball and the football
Oh,
should
yeah.
be paid the same,
of course, I was real pretty good for it.
not just the baseball.
If I lost it.
Baseball head coach, looks like 25. And softball,
No, football.
what do you say should be the same?
Football and baseball.
Football and baseball should be the same?
How much is the softball? Where is the softball?
Baseball, head coach is 2,500.
No, that's $1,000. No, that's softball. That's softball, yeah.
You know-
Head coach is 2,500.
What's so hard to understand, Lois, is that you don't know what other little extra positions that are added on to some people.
Well, we just need to clean it up.
Well,
There's no
it
reason
needs,
for it.
there needs to be
transparent?
transparency, there needs to be one person, one position, and in that position, if you want them to do other things that we're now being listing as little payments that there's no name really beside of it, then it needs to be explained to them.
Then you
This-
got And then you got a list too. I'm sorry, then you got a list like the length of season, like football, where you got spring, it starts.
Sure.
It goes, if you get in the playoffs, it goes up.
Sure.
what, December,
Yeah, it was December, yeah.
it could.
And girls, and girls and boys basketball, there's a lot of travel and stuff in it. Baseball's a little bit,
The
Of course,
baseball,
in baseball,
we try to, I think most
we
districts.
play every day.
Baseball,
it's a
softball.
little bit better for
Football,
the
you play once a week.
spring and all that.
Baseball head coach is 2,500, high school softball coach is 20.
Excuse me.
What is not on here is,
You can't even.
And did we list the softball
Stay right
head
here,
coach?
Lawrence.
Do you know if they listed that on the school? Posted that?
I'm not trying to bring her.
Oh, like those bluebirds,
Yes.
those are pretty
Ever?
good.
yes,
They did? No one
the high
applied?
school did.
And no one applied?
They have, you softball, they have a softball coach.
Right, but I don't know if it was posted. I've been asked that a lot, and I forgot to ask.
Yeah, we posted, I'm sure that, as Carolyn, did we post the softball, did we post the
The high
softball?
the high school would have to do that, right? And no one wanted it?
When did it come available?
February or March? I'm not real sure.
We posted, we did the posting, correct?
We post, and the schools can post too. If it's a varsity, even the athletic director will post out there on Kentucky High School
We just not had
Athletic
it.
Association.
And no one applied?
Somebody applied, because we have a coach. I mean, all I know is when the applications, if they come here, they are sent to the high school, and the high school principal or middle school principal consult with their site base and say, here's the name.
Okay. Well, there's a number 2 out beside of it. Is that
What's that?
Two
two times this
Can I
number?
be excused?
Right, there you
Yes.
go.
I can be excused.
Who has it?
Okay, I mean, I gotta get my,
Yeah, does anybody, is there anything else that can wait till Monday that,
I don't mean to spoil.
Any questions I have, Madam Chair, would have to be done in executive session.
Yeah.
okay. Roger? Do you have any more questions tonight on? Lois?
I mean, y'all,
Have to be done in executive session.
Okay. Then I guess we need a, if you have nothing else for you two, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Lois, if you want to stay on, I mean, I can just excuse myself. I got an hour and a half.
No, my son has a baseball game.
Oh, she, okay, that's.
Okay.
So,
How much was to adjourn?
you gotta have
Wait a
a
second.
tentative budget by,
May 30th.
May 30th.
I have to have it filed to the state no later than May 30th.
We'll be done with him.
Okay, I have a motion for adjournment.
I didn't say that in jest, Mr.
I was the
Superintendent.
Do you know those?
I am the eternal
May I ask
optimist.
you something? What is a STEM
That's my
stipend?
wife.
Okay, she has to
A
have a
STEM
second.
stipend, what is that?
Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and those were created for our aviation, and and hopefully, as we move forward, we're looking now at 3D printers, so.
Oh, okay, oh, those are funny, okay, I want to ask one more question before we do this. The money from CATS, does it specify or require that it is spent on a person, or can we add to other people's,
It would definitely need to be technology.
does it specifically say? I know that, but can we add to the pay of someone already in technology, or can we buy other things, technology?
General,
Does it
if you're
specifically say
asking,
it has to be someone?
no.
Okay.
CATS is used for equipment, technology, the people who work in the technology.
Well, when we talked about that other position.
That other position
opened-
you had said will be paid for by the
kids.
grant.
That's
Okay.
correct.
And there will
So
be
we
no
doesn't-
general, I had you saying that there would be no general
There's no general
funds.
fund in that CATS. Now, CATS is matched, not by the general fund, but it's matched through other grants.
But we don't have to spend that on a person, so that
You
doesn't
don't
have
have
to
to.
be a position, right?
You don't have to spend it on a person.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
But the 43,000, I think it was,
It doesn't have to be on a person.
Well, it's nowhere near that, the salary is nowhere near that for the other computer technician anyhow. I mean, that's what was available in there, wasn't it? 40?
Yes.
Yeah.
43, I believe.
But it doesn't
My
specifically
goodness, you
state
got
that it
that.
has to be a person. Okay, okay. That's it.
Okay, Riz, had a,
Was there a second, Madam Chair?
no. I need
I'll
a
make
second.
that second.
Have a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion carries, we go home.
Happy senior